You are not a late bloomer, your planets just haven't matured yet. In astrology, we don't believe that everyone's supposed to have their life figured out at the same age. That's because different planets mature at different times, and each planet rules a very specific area of life. Each planet represents a lesson, and you can't master a lesson unless you've lived life long enough to understand it. So Sun, it represents your identity, your confidence, your beliefs. And it doesn't mature until 22. That's why you start to ask yourself, who am I really around that age? And really feel the confidence to step in more independent roles and just claim your space in this world. Then we have Moon that represents one's emotions, safety, and inner stability. And it doesn't mature until 24. This is when you start recognizing your own emotional patterns, family conditioning, and just what makes you feel truly secure. Then we have Mercury that represents communication, decision making, and your thinking patterns. It starts to mature around 32. So at this age, your mind becomes sharper and more intentional. You learn to stop reacting and start responding. Then we have Venus that represents love, relationships, our self-worth, what we value, pleasure, beauty, and money. It matures around 25. So that's why before 25, love can feel kind of confusing, idolized, sometimes painful. You might chase validation, settle for less, or romanticize people who aren't truly meant for you. This can also show someone who may be like a party girl who likes to go out, drink, have fun. But once you hit 25, those desires kind of go away, and you realize that love becomes less about fantasy and more about alignment. We have Mars that represents your drive, courage, and anger, and it matures at 28. Before it matures, actions can be a little bit more impulsive, but afterward, your strength becomes more focused or controlled. We have Jupiter that represents meaning, faith, our beliefs, and the maturity age is 16, but it becomes even more profound around 30. Jupiter represents the beliefs that were ingrained in you from your childhood, but as you get older or as you reach 16 and in your 30s, life kind of reveals to you what beliefs were actually real and ones that were actually inherited. And then, of course, last but not least, I just so happen to do this planet last, we have Saturn, which has a lot to do with responsibility, discipline, karma, and long-term success. And as much as Saturn return is talked about, Saturn truly matures at 36. So this is why even after your Saturn return, you may not feel the most responsible or disciplined, but at 36 is when life truly starts to feel more stable and you take it a lot more seriously. And bonus, we're gonna have Rahu Ketu, aka the North Node and South Node. And these two shadow planets can basically be called your soul's karmic teachers. They mature between the ages of 42 and 48. And Rahu that matures at 42 has a lot to do with one's obsessions, worldly success, desires, ambition, and uncharted territory. So this is why around your 40s, but specifically 42 for Rahu, there's this massive shift that happens where you're no longer chasing approval and you start chasing purpose. You're kind of like, I don't give a F, I'm just doing what I want to do. Then Ketu, which represents detachment, surrender, liberation, it matures at 48. This is why by your late 40s, you're not really interested in proving anything anymore. All you're interested in is peace. And it's like a time period where you feel more content. Again, you're not really